Hello and welcome to Xena Warrior Podcast. My name is Vera and I'm joined as always by my two 100% natural fiber co-hosts.
We're organic.
Katie.
Hi.
And Livy.
Hi.
Today we're talking about two episodes. You know, the ones after the big ones.
There's always got to be something that follows a great episode.
Yes.
This is like that period after a really hopping party where it's just like tumbleweeds of trash on the floor and like they turn the music off and the lights come back on and you're just like, where was I?
So you kind of use one's trash? Maybe one of them for sure. It's 314 Forgiven and 315 King Khan.
Which one is trash?
Ooh, I would assume the Khan one.
It's number, what, 3?
Yeah.
Number
3 worst episode as voted by Whoosh readers.
What was 2? Is it Ulysses?
No.
Because Ulysses deserves to
Fish
be higher.
sticks.
No,
Fish
that's
sticks.
1.
No, it's
Nope.
not.
It's not?
No,
Friend
sweetheart.
in need.
Oh, Jesus.
It is not.
Forget it. I think Ulysses is worse than King Kong, but we'll get there.
Agree.
Yeah,
We'll get there. We'll
I
get
agree
there.
as well, kind of, yeah.
The hate being poured on both these episodes is a little unfair because obviously the only thing that's really wrong with them is that they follow maternal instincts,
Yeah.
bittersweet, and want to get the army.
So, like,
Yeah.
what you have is an actual serialized story, and then you come back and it's like one-off business. It's true that Forgiven is a fallout. You know, there's emotional continuity.
Yeah, I think it's
character
actually a great
continuity.
example of a
Yeah.
standalone episode that does try to engage with the emotional continuity. I think it does a good job at that.
Yeah.
I like this episode.
This one was not as bad as I had remembered
I'm
it.
fine with Forgiven.
That's forgiven, asterisk. Not as bad as you remember.
You
yeah,
forgive it.
exactly, yeah.
You
It is
forgive
forgiven.
it.
I forgive it.
fine.
Yeah.
Poured a little bit of the urn of Apollo on its head and said, you are forgiven.
I think it's an interesting episode to come after all this stuff.
Yeah.
And my only beef with it is that it's just like really overt and constantly saying lines about its overtness.
It is. We'll get into it.
Yes.
It definitely has a case of like telling, not showing.
Mm-hmm.
So before we get to the episode, let's do our Salmonia second here and talk about Patreon.
Salmonia second.
I feel like it needs a song.
I know.
Everything needs a song.
Of course. So anyway, yeah, Salmonia second. Patreon, we
Holy
have reached our goal.
shit.
So to celebrate passing this big goal, we've added even more goals.
Yay.
Nice stretch goals. Because
Yeah.
you always need like an ambition. You need to be reaching for something.
Yeah.
So we have a goal at $600, which is t-shirts
Oh, yes.
and other merchandise.
The merch. Yeah.
I think we can all officially vouch that the Xena Did It First t-shirts are super rad. And we would love to be able to offer those to y'all, along with other stuff.
So the other awesome goal that we have set, if we reach $1,000 a month,
Yeehaw.
we are really excited about this project. It's an oral history of Xena fandom. So basically, we would put out a call for submissions, so you guys could record your stories about being a fan of Xena. And like what awesome experiences and friendships like the show has led you to have. We've definitely just from being this podcast have encountered people who have just said such amazing things about what this show means to them and the impact it's had on their lives.
Yeah, and we want to preserve that.
So that's our big project that we're going to be gunning for.
Yeah, that's our big stretch goal for now.
So before we move on to the episode, we want to finish our Salmonia second by thanking some of you lovely people for becoming patrons of Xena Warrior Podcast. We have some peace-loving pixies, some ladies of size, some girls with a chakram, and one Dr. Janice Covington.
Yeah.
We're going to
All
thank
right.
today.
Janice.
So,
In no particular order.
in no particular order, thank you, Reisler. Thank you, Destiny Menacini. Thank you, Mitch.
Woo!
Thank you, Rhonda. Thank you, Mel. And thank you, Shelby.
Oh my God.
Your support means so much to us.
It seriously
guys.
does.
Seriously,
it's unbelievable,
for sure.
really. We are seriously blown away by all the support.
And we just have so much more planned for this podcast and for you guys. It's just so exciting. Yay!
Okay, now on with the episode.
All right.
So, 314 Forgiven, written by R.J. Stewart and directed by Grant Maxwell. We haven't seen him in a while, huh?
He last directed Lost Mariner. Some kind of mariner.
Cool. No boats here, but,
No
whatever.
boats here. But yeah, he's, I think, becoming one of the tried and tested Xena directors. You
Yeah.
see him in the future directing a bunch of fairly major eps. So he's a goodie.
So this episode begins with this really kind of amazing, I thought, moment where it's like a crazy visualization of a vase.
It was really surreal. I thought we were back in Bittersweet.
It was the same color, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was so just like, what? What show is this?
Yeah, there's like a lot of sun, a lot of fire, like burning.
A lot of rape.
That
Straight up. That
That's
was happening.
One shot of that woman in bed.
In bed.
Yeah, that was
I was like, this
pretty-
did not need to be here.
Right.
This was not here for any good reason.
Yeah. But it was a cool opening anyway.
It was. It was. I mean, that's literally what it was the images on a Greek vase, and they were visualizing it. And it really reminded me of one of my favorite parts of the Iliad, which is the description of the shield of Achilles. You go into the shield, and it's like
It's telling you a story.
a massive description. Like you're like in another story, basically. So this was, Greek vases. There's clearly something going on in there. We don't know what it is. We're just like, pretty. But this was like visualizing something. And I thought this was just, no other episode of Xena kind of like starts like that. And as a person who really loves like ancient Greek stuff, this was really cool for me. Like this stood out.
I mean, what is some of that imagery? You have the sun that seems to be standing
Yeah,
in
the
for
burning
Apollo,
sun. There's like a
right?
lot of, I mean, you don't get
Yeah.
it yet. I mean,
Yeah, you
don't
only get it
understand
once
what you're
you
watching.
find out.
Yeah, because it's
but
like there's like monks and they turn into what seems like stone, and you're like,
Yeah,
what's
what?
happening?
a little bit of, pillar of salt, that story
Yeah,
from the
yeah,
Bible.
yeah.
But then there are also the nice monks in the white robes who are worshiping the sun, and they're fine. So I think that's the moral of the story is like, if you're blasphemous, you're going to get burned. And if you're nice, you're fine.
Okay,
And
cool.
you'll be forgiven. I guess you can go from one to the other.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
All right, thank
Trade
you for
your black
explaining
robe
that.
for your white robe.
Awesome. And also, this is like our only Apollo imagery throughout the whole show, which is like,
Yeah, what's Apollo's deal?
like-
Is he ever on Hercules?
oh, that's a good question.
Faithful listeners, can
for
you
our
tell
audience,
us,
yeah.
is there ever an actor cast as Apollo? Because that feels like an oversight.
Yeah, I mean, pin for Twilight of the Gods, because I have a lot of opinions on the ones that were featured and the ones that were omitted. Apollo being one of them, because
Yeah,
he
for
is
sure. He's a
way
biggie.
huge,
Yeah.
and very much missing. So you see that this like imagery turns into this vase or vase. I don't know.
Either way,
whatever
whichever you
you prefer.
It's an urn. Maybe go with the urn.
Okay, to the urn. And we're in a temple, and it's the temple of Apollo, and there's a priest, and he sort of has a bunch of worshipers kind of waiting to be purified because it's a day of cleansing.
This priest is played by an actor whose name I don't have in front of me, but he is a Xena regular.
He did look familiar.
Yeah, he also is Gar in Paradise Found.
Oh, we haven't seen that episode, so why are you talking about it?
I don't know. He's already appeared as something else because I
Okay.
remember he came up and we were like, it's that guy from Paradise Found.
Yeah.
So here he is again. That guy.
Cool. So guys, keep him peeled for this guy coming back again.
This is one of their faves.
Yeah.
And he's good in this very small role as the priest.
Yeah, so he's like, Blessed Urn of Apollo will anoint you with the purity of hope. I thought that was an annoying little line.
Oh,
I mean,
That word is forever tainted.
Why didn't he get the memo that word is ruined?
definitely ruined.
Whoops.
The wide shot of like the parishioners at this temple I thought was really cool because there was like, random like villagers and whatnot. And then there were all these goons. And I was like, oh my God, this is amazing.
That the goons come to be
purified. And it was just so emotional, but alas.
They're only here to steal it.
Yeah, they were totally there.
Sorry, Vera. If you come to a temple dressed in your leathers, chances are you're there to rob it.
Oh, I liked it, but then they did the bad thing. So they punched the priest and stole the urn.
They're like, by the way, you're forgiven. And they punch him in the face and he lands on the altar. Oh my God, so much sacrilege. In fact, there's so much sacrilege that then there's this cut to like the sun, like crackling with anger. So there, Apollo is in the episode-ish.
And Hercules and young Hercules.
Oh, really? You looked it up. There is an Apollo.
Yes.
So he just never crossed over into Xena.
Why didn't he come to Xena?
You know he's probably hot.
Is he?
I don't know. Sun God. That's a pretty high bar.
I don't know. Some of their other casting.
It makes you wonder.
For the gods, yeah.
By Katie's face.
Well, here, I'll hold up a picture. Sorry, podcast.
Oh. We kind of like it.
He's got a gold vest.
He's like very like younger Aeolus, but not
but taller.
But not Dino from Young Hercules as Aeolus. Yeah, and just he's wearing like the opposite
like Rocky
of
vibes.
Well, you can see where Athena's outfit comes from.
Like Rocky Horror.
Oh.
Not Rocky Sylvester Stallone.
Yeah, I was like, that's really confusing.
Or Rocky and Bullwinkle. But anyway, yeah, he's wearing like this gold, like metallic-y outfit that's tacky, and you can see how it matches Athena.
Tacky and wonderful.
Yeah. We're in a tavern, and this priest with his black eye is there trying to entice Xena and Gabrielle to help his cause here.
His cause being getting the urn back. I love that Xena is holding this beer stein through the scene in this just really wonderful way. If we have our good sitting alert, this is like good holding a beer glass alert. Very special alert.
The priest says that the urn gives a new start to so many people. And Xena goes, no urn can do that. That comes from within.
But meanwhile, you see that Gabrielle is silently moved by this idea. It means something to her, this idea that you could be forgiven by an urn.
Yeah, she totally is buying this, and
well, she's not buying it, but I feel like
she totally is empathetic immediately to
this.
Xena
like, dismisses it outright as like, well, those parishioners are stupid for even giving this object power.
Like you have to help yourself.
Yeah, but Gabrielle, I think she gets it, even though she doesn't believe in it. She gets why that would hold power for people,
especially when he's like, yeah, it helps like soldiers who've maybe killed too much in battle.
That was one of my favorite reaction shots, maybe, in the whole episode. Just her looking at Xena right then. Very good face.
And I thought this was, like, the funniest part because Xena previously was like, priest, you're selling me a load of bull here because this urn is stupid and worthless. And then she sees that Gabrielle's kind of, like, buying into it. So she's like, we'll help you out.
She was going to help him out all along. Or maybe not.
I don't know.
I always love the episodes where Xena withholds help at first. Like she previously did it with Burger King. She doesn't like helping kings, royalty in general. There's like a class thing going on. And here she also seems not that eager to help somebody from the Temple of Apollo. So maybe she's got some beef there.
So she doesn't like helping like priests from temples?
Unless they're Hestia, then she seems on board.
Interesting.
She'll help women.
Yeah.
Is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I'm getting that. So after agreeing to help the priest, Xena decides to go get Argo so they can be on their way to the journey. And she leaves Gabrielle behind in this tavern. Gabrielle takes out her scroll. She's going to do some writing.
I like that little glimpse that just like in between, like Xena's like, I'm going to go get the car. And Gabs is like, great, a few minutes to myself so I can finally write and not be in danger of having my scroll used as toilet paper.
Yeah, and suddenly, in the background, we see this young punk. And she's trying to get Gabrielle's attention here.
Because she is from the television show Unreal, of course, her first thought is to throw a drink at someone.
Yes, that's exactly what The Bachelorette is all about.
Hi, Shiri Appleby.
Right, so this is Shiri Appleby, in her first appearance, well, as this character, Tara, on Xena. So apparently this was supposed to be for Selma Blair.
Oh, yeah?
Really?
As a weird, like, I mean, I wasn't quite sure if I understood this correctly. I have had a few drinks this evening. It seems
when
like...
do we not have a few
I mean, yes.
But
But
we've already had it.
yeah, this is a little bit extra.
It's different.
R.J. Stewart seemed to have said that because they did Amazon High, they wanted to bring Selma Blair back.
Oh, so they've already shot Amazon High
I
at this
believe
point.
Amazon
they
High.
have. So it seems like this character was written for Selma Blair.
I can totally see that. Selma Blair circa Amazon High would totally do a kind of petulant, mini-skirted version of Tara.
But she was getting a little big for Xena, I think.
Did she score Cruel Intentions?
I would
think
imagine.
so.
Yes.
And they had to recast. And,
That was 1998, which I believe is now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
or at least this was probably shot in like November, December '97. So
Yeah.
yeah, so they had to recast and get little Shiri.
Little Shiri before she did
Roswell.
Roswell.
Yeah. I mean, clearly she was cast
I am
in...
what I am. I do what I want, but I can't hide. I know the words to a song.
Dido.
Yes.
Flashbacks. Clearly, this was her entire reel, and they were like, genius!
She is really
She's
cute.
great. I
Like,
mean...
this is a very hard character to play because you're almost sabotaged. You have to be annoying straight off the bat.
Right.
You have to chew Gabrielle's ear off.
Very
Like,
bad.
Yeah, the odds are stacked against her. And yet she's so charming.
Yeah. Obnoxious is Gabrielle's
she's
favorite
very
word for her.
obnoxious.
Yeah.
But she
I don't
makes
know
it
if
cute.
she's charming.
Yeah, she's cute, I guess. And like you see the vulnerability straight off the bat
Mm-hmm.
with her underneath the thin layer of obnoxiousness is a thick layer of vulnerable, sad little girl.
Well, since we were already talking about her, let's discuss Tara.
She has some hair.
What's her look?
Oh my god.
It's
The hair
interesting.
is just
It's
all
something
there.
else.
It's a very like vintage Billy Ray Cyrus.
Okay.
Oh my goodness.
But also, it's giving me extremely traumatic flashbacks to the wonderful 1997 program Roar.
Oh.
And
I know this is
really, it's hard for me to even say
Vera
this.
has trouble with Roar.
But
dare
the world's introduction to the amazing person that is Vera Farmiga came with some awful bangs in the program Roar.
But did she have like the chia pet hair just shooting
I mean,
up
that's
out of
basically
the
her
top of
bangs.
her
Like, this
skull?
is her actual bangs. They were so short, they basically did that.
Yeah,
and
but
then she had
Shiri
the
has it,
braids
like all
on
over
the side.
her head. Yeah, and
Right,
then
because she's
it's
wearing a
thick.
crazy wig.
I don't even know what those like. They're not dreads.
It's
They're
all,
just.
it's all business in the
They're
front.
like curtain poles. You know those things
Yeah.
in the curtain. She
not-
just has them all
It's
over her
not great.
head.
It's not great at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she's clear. She's supposed to be like punk because she's like black crop top and some pants.
And she talks like she's from New Jersey. Like straight up, every line is like sounds like a Jersey girl begging her dad to drive her to the mall. So that's the exact register.
Okay, meets punk.
But
okay.
Dad, yeah, I can't do a Jersey girl accent, but Shiri Appleby can.
Well, she is starting some trouble with Gabrielle here in this bar.
Gabrielle's like, "What's your problem?" And Tara says,
Your face! Which made me laugh.
It was really
so
funny.
much.
Like,
Killer bird.
not so bad.
It's not bad. It's just like, why? So she throws the drink at her.
And then like some gruel.
She throws the
like
gruel at
oatmeal.
her. Yeah. It's like, it's rough.
And I love
It's a pretty harsh
yeah.
fight, actually. Yeah.
I mean,
like,
once it happens,
yeah.
it is.
You just keep waiting for it to be over, and it never is.
No, and like Gabrielle
really
is really
hardcore.
taken out.
Honestly, these
in
two
this
episodes
fight.
involve some really intense
Right,
fights.
over the top beating.
Yeah.
What's going on, Xena
Well, I know what's
crew?
going on in the next one, but
Yeah.
I like the little detail that after having the gruel thrown at her, you can see it like
on her face.
Yeah, on her face, like throughout the rest of the scene. Of course, the continuity in general with this fight is great because this cat scratches on her face are there for the rest of the episode, and her ear.
Right. So in June 1997 is when Mike Tyson bit Evander Holyfield's ear off. So this was clearly inspired by that.
I remember that everybody made ear biting jokes for that year.
That was, multiple ears afterwards. She breaks a chair on Gabrielle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, these wrestling moves.
Yeah. Straight up legit though. And just punches her face a lot. Just beats her up we've never seen before.
And Gabrielle isn't really getting provoked. It takes her a really long time to start actually fighting back.
I feel like this is more violent than the Gab drag.
Oh my god. Certainly that shot of Tara's teeth fastened into her ear and her ear bends over. Oh, I didn't like that.
It's more realistically visceral than the CGI fires.
Yes, there you go. There you go.
And like I said, you just keep thinking it's over and it just isn't. It just never is. It just goes on for the entire length of the episode and you're
she kicks her in the crotch. That was the most extra ever.
Also, we have to mention the not so great decision by the sound designer to put cat screeches on there. No thanks.
Actual cat screeches?
Yes.
Not the music.
No. There's just in the same way that you might have whooshes. There's
okay. Because I really like the music.
The music is good.
Tara's theme of crazy repressed.
I didn't make note of when it started. Did it start in this scene? Do you remember?
I did not notice. I was too busy looking at her.
I don't know.
Crotch.
But there's this high scream female sounding voice in the music, which I felt was very Tara-esque.
That's awesome. Yeah. She later, when she does her charades, there's this heavy metal sound that comes up. Maybe that's part of.
But that was her story that she was saying. Yeah, it wasn't about her as a character. What Katie's talking about comes back later, in actual Tara scenes. So Xena comes back, and I love how she does that thing where you hold somebody back by the forehead and they're trying to punch you, but they can't. That's basically what she does to Tara.
She holds her by the scruff of her mullet, which is not a thing I realized you could do.
And Tara's like, Xena, I'm here to replace Blondie.
Dun, dun, dun. Cut to credits.
Yeah.
So then when we're back from credits, Gabrielle says, Xena, I'll understand just this once. If you're so angry, you want to pummel her for a while. Xena's like, I'm not going to do that. And then Gabs, balls her hands into fists and is like, then hold her while I do it.
And Xena has to hold them both back by their foreheads, basically.
It's nice to see Gabrielle just really, truly angry.
Yeah.
It's nice that Gabrielle is bad cop and Xena is good cop in this episode.
I like how Xena almost calls her Blondie by accident.
Yes. Which maybe finally settles the debate. What hair color is
it's
Gabrielle?
Blonde.
Definitely blonde at this point in the show.
Now.
Yeah.
So the plot of this episode involves this Red Valley gang who are the goons that stole the urn, and Tara actually knows them, so she's like, I can be so useful to you, Xena. Let me come with you and prove myself. She knows where their hideout is.
Because she hangs with them guys sometimes. and when Xena kind of gets a judgy face, she's like, hey, look, I never said I was a goody two-shoes, but I'm here to turn it around.
Oh my goodness.
She's great.
All of her lines are like this.
I do love her.
I feel like she's a little bit from the 1940s.
Yeah.
She's like Newsies.
I can see that.
Yeah.
Okay, my favorite line of hers is she's like, I want to be a hero and fight for good, protect wimps, and kick the crap out of jerks.
Yeah. Very noble.
Yeah, she's sweet. I immediately felt that the way she played this is just so over the top.
Yeah.
Was endearing.
Yeah.
And, obviously she has to go a long way to earn our love because she just bit Gabrielle's ear off.
And has that hair.
Yeah.
And literally wants to replace Gabrielle.
So, Xena's not having that.
Well, no.
But she's just like, Gabrielle is my partner, and that's the way it's gonna stay.
Of course.
So when
the
they
first time we've heard her refer to Gabrielle as her partner.
right on their way to finding the gang, Xena and Gabrielle and Argo are walking along, and Tara's kind of like really obviously just like a few paces behind them.
And finally, Xena eventually agrees to go back and talk to her because Gabrielle is just kind of quietly fuming at her side.
Well, I'd be so annoyed if someone was like following 5 feet behind me.
With the explicit intention of replacing me.
Right.
So, that's not fun. And I think a lot of Gabrielle's kind of feeling right now isn't just being angry about getting the beat down. She's angry that this person explicitly said, I want to supplant you in Xena's affection. And Xena isn't just like, no. Xena's like, oh, she's sweet. Let her be.
Well, she says she reminds her of herself.
Yes,
Yeah,
well.
that was definitely a line, the first of the many lines where I was like, the episode did not need to say that. Xena didn't need to explain why she was being understanding of Tara. I feel like we get that. We get that Tara's a little bit of a bad girl. Like, that was Xena.
I don't know. Well, yeah, I feel like of all of the like overtness, that one is maybe the least offensive.
To you.
Yeah. But at the same time, it kind of painted a new picture of Xena that I never really had. I know
her hanging out with the young bucks, just like
right,
Tara.
Yeah. Like we know that she pushed what's her face, Black Wolf, out of the tree all the time.
Right. That was totally the young bucks influence.
I didn't see her as this kind of like little punk. I just saw her as like a girl hanging out with another girl who like was doing this. And then what's his face?
I can't believe Cyrene let this shit go down.
Yeah, I just didn't see Xena as like a problematic young
probably
child.
A phase. She was sowing her wild oats. I mean, clearly she got her act together when Amphipolis was being attacked.
Well, see, that's the thing. Like, I always thought that she was just like whatever, hanging out in Amphipolis, like trying to find her way. And then they were attacked, and she became what she became.
Yeah, I just see, Xena circa Destiny with her outfit made out of money being a slightly older version of a punk. And it's not so hard to turn back the clock and see a younger version of that.
I wanted the one from what was it, the alternate history one where she was like in a dress.
Nothing.
Yeah, so I wanted her in a dress, and then the guy came and attacked the village, killed her brother, and then she went
the dress off,
and then she just went full like 180 into Destiny times.
So she
like
was a good girl until.
Well, I don't know if she was a good girl. She pushed Flora out of the tree all the time, but
as I recall, that was actually presented in the Black Wolf as like making Flora stronger. So Xena's never in the wrong. Even when she's bullying, it's making better.
I just didn't see her as this kind of like problematic. Oh, I said it.
Oh, you said it, but you kind of didn't say it the way we often.
Just this like
we'll
kid.
Let it go this time.
Let's let it slide.
All right.
Anyway, she claims that Tara reminds her of herself from when she was.
Maybe she's just wrong. Tara reminds her of herself, but that's not what she was like at all. Just in her mind, that's what it felt like.
Well, I like that. And then Gabrielle kind of like pushes back about like even letting Tara join them. She's like, why do we need her? Like, we can totally do this on our own. And I feel like they should have this conversation about Joxer every time he's there.
I know. Well, they sometimes do, just in eye rolls. One eye rolls at the other, and the other eye rolls back. I did like the detail that even here, Xena and Gabrielle step aside to have this private conversation. They leave Argo with Tara, and Xena gives Argo's reins to Tara, which was this moment of trust, like right off the bat.
Yeah.
So you immediately feel that Xena wants to give this girl some responsibility. This is also the moment where Gabrielle has her great line about, I knew you were evil, but you were obnoxious too. It's a good bird.
Yeah.
I feel like the problem is that like Xena would be cooler.
Yeah.
I agree. She never would be like, oh yeah, but I'm trying to turn it around. That was not. And Xena would never be caught dead with that hair.
Yeah. No. Am I supposed to be imagining Xena with that hair?
No.
Okay, thank you. That's too traumatic of a thought.
All right. So maybe my problem with this line isn't that it's somehow stating something that should be subtextual as text. It's stating something that I'm like, what? Really? But I mean, it does seem to me that, of course, would see this girl who, has been hard done by and is trying to make up for it with like bravado and be like, I get this. I know what's going on here. Like, I do see that, which I think is why I didn't need her to say it outright.
Mm-hmm.
So it's nighttime, and Xena sneaks up on the goons. She's a little bit worried about starting some kind of like full-on brawl with them because she doesn't want to break the urn.
Yeah, it's so funny that this whole episode they have to like adjust their plan around the possible breaking of this urn.
I'm totally down with this urn.
This
so
is like
I
the skinniest plot in the history of plots. But I love it because actually the real plot of this episode isn't about the urn at all. It's about Tara. It's about like the triangulation of these relationships. Tara, Xena, Tara, Gabs, and Xena and Gabs.
Yeah. So Tara wants to see Xena do the squeeze, as she puts it, which is the pinch. So she kind of like disobeys Xena's orders. Xena's orders are always like, stay back. And she's like, no, let me
And
do
Gabrielle,
it.
I guess, is supposed to keep an eye on her. And she fails
She
really
fails
hard.
all the time, yeah.
So Tara sneaks into the campsite and talks to a goon. And for a second, you're like, oh no, it's a betrayal. But of course, she's directing him to like the wrong spot in the bushes. So then Xena leaps out and puts the pinch on him.
By the way, her eyes are insanely blue as she's
It's
waiting
so
in
blue.
the bushes. Like the moonlight is bouncing off them. And by moonlight, I mean the studio lights.
Are you saying this wasn't shot outside?
Yes, because it's nighttime. So Xena puts the pinch on him and he sings like a lark.
And then when he at first refuses, Tara's like, may you rest in peace. I also really loved, after he tells them, whatever, some plot thing, they're taking the urn to, like, deal with some traitors, yada, yada. It's not important. Yeah. I really loved this bit where Xena knocks the guy out, and Tara goes to kick him, and Xena's like, no, you can't do that. And Tara's like, okay, let me just make sure I, like, know the rules. It's okay to knock them out after putting the pinch on them, but no smacking them after.
Yeah.
Which is great. Like, pointing out the flaws in Xena's morality, that she is okay with a certain level of abuse, but just, like, not too far. Yeah, that was a good little moment. Like, I like the way this episode uses Tara as, like, a fresh set of eyes to see Xena and Gabrielle in these different ways. Like, I think it's very successful at doing that.
So when they return, Gabrielle is not happy because she knows that Tara has snuck off and did this.
Yeah, it actually did something important for Xena, whereas Gabs was sitting in the campfire, maybe writing in her scrolls again, having some nice quiet time.
I like Xena's line of, turning people away from their dark side is not my specialty.
Yeah, what a great burn! Yeah, I mean, I love this. I love that originally Gabrielle sees Tara and has no patience for her. It's such a reversal of her behavior in season 1, where she was always the nurturer. There would be the person who, like, they come across, and Gabrielle would make it her business to befriend them and, like, help them identify their problem and help them fix it. She was just doing that with Dorian Gray from One Against an Army. So it's nice to get this different take on Gabrielle. So Renee actually wasn't on board originally with this take on Gabrielle as the bad cop. She felt like this was out of character. She felt that Gabrielle would always have sympathy for a character like Tara, this kid, you know, even if she'd beaten her up. Like, Renee was very protective and was just like, I just don't see how I can do this. Eventually, RJ talked her through it, and I think the conclusion that they came to was that it's jealousy. This is something that Gabrielle struggles with.
Agreed.
As we will see very soon.
My note for the beginning of the scene was all about her just being lime green jello about connections with Xena. Yeah.
She wants
It's
Xena all to
And
herself.
even though this is like a kid. Yeah.
But I think it's a kid who must... It's funny that Xena's like, this kid reminds me of me, because it seems like the more natural connection that Tara would remind Gabrielle of herself. This kid who wants to travel with Xena. You know, brash, talks herself up, claims to have some skills.
Oh my God.
You know? But, I mean, maybe that's like holding a mirror up to Gabrielle and she doesn't like what she sees there.
Yeah, I could see where she would probably have a problem with it at the start because it's very intense.
Yeah.
She's very intensely angry with this kid and wants to rip her eyeballs out and stuff. So
And you can tell that she's kind of being made, I mean, not the maybe the antagonist at this point in the story. You know, we as viewers kind of know the score. We know that Xena should give Tara a chance. So Gabrielle is standing in the way of that. And it's rare to see Gabrielle not as the voice of reason in an episode.
I think it's really crazy that she has this huge problem with this child. Because, I mean, I understand being jealous of somebody like Lama, who's a woman. And
what a woman.
Yeah, what a woman, you know. Yes. And also, you guys know that I absolutely love when she's petty like this. Like, that's my ultimate. But I feel like it's weird for this child. Like, she does not seem like a threat. Like, I don't think ever Xena would turn around and be like, you know what, Gabrielle, you should go home. I think I got my new sidekick
kind of
here.
knew you.
Yeah, like, she just never really seemed... Like,
Could this
a
be a
third
product?
wheel, I
Yeah.
see. That's a problem.
Another Joxer.
Because
Yeah.
this show does do that. They do travel with people with them. And if Gabrielle is like, why can't it just be us two? Like, and me, the audience, why can't it just be them two? You know?
Well, maybe
like,
this is a stretch for me, but perhaps Gabrielle is threatened in part because we've just gotten through the rift.
Mm-hmm.
You know, maybe she feels like her place isn't as secure as it was
Good
4
point.
months ago.
Yeah.
You know, like here's a younger, innocent creature.
She's not innocent. She's totally...
She's innocent.
I don't know what
mean,
her backstory
yeah,
is.
she's more innocent than Gabs.
At this point.
At this point, yeah. In the story, yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Gabs isn't that little
No,
girl
yeah, exactly,
anymore.
exactly.
So, you know, maybe she's like, uh-oh, I'm not Xena's type no more.
Oh my God.
Well, she'll talk about her type in the next one.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So Xena convinces Gabrielle to try to be civil to Tara because Tara is a child. I think that does... especially that line about that you already quoted, Vera, about turning people away from their dark side isn't my specialty. That kind of, I think that brings Gabrielle a bit to her senses. That line, she realizes, oh yeah, I'm being a little unreasonable.
Yeah.
So,
But also her ear has stopped hurting as much. And I think she's like become more forgiving.
oh, I see. So then Gabrielle has this really important line that she says to Xena, where she says, if you can say with a straight face that you believe in her, it will go a long way with a confused kid like that. It did with me. It's easier to believe in yourself after someone has believed in you first.
And then Xena says, thanks.
This seems so
Yeah.
good. Oh, faces.
Yeah,
This
there's
scene is
a lot
great.
of good faces.
But guys, Xena does not have a straight face.
Oh, it took me a second.
So back at the campsite, Tara has put Gabrielle's staff right into the fire.
Rude.
That is rude as fuck.
Just shaking my head silently. How dare she?
And then she takes the sleeping spot right next to Xena.
Oh my
She's just on a roll.
Guys,
This is a fight about who gets to sleep with Xena.
you see, Gabrielle sleeps next to Xena.
Yeah,
Obviously.
it's her spot.
That's her spot. And she gives some kind of rigmarole about how it's like...
She doesn't like sleep close to the fire.
Yeah, she likes to sleep close to the fire.
That's
that
not,
is
no.
Xena.
That's
Yeah,
not like that. Wait, what? I didn't quite hear what you said.
Yeah. The fire that is Xena. That's where she gets her warmth from.
Right.
But Tara wins that fight, and I love that Gabs slinks away to the other side of the campfire, muttering, and the only part that I could hear was, the world's just a bowl of cherries.
Oh,
She
no.
grumbles to herself.
Oh my god. And then she does that thing where it looks like she's, that thing where you can turn around and look like you're making out with someone, but you're just like hugging yourself.
Oh, she's
That's
trying
what
to make them jealous.
Yeah.
She's like, I've got someone over here, you guys.
That's
Yeah,
exactly.
I love those cute little shots of her sleeping by
Yeah.
herself while they have this meaningful conversation. And, she's kind of sulking in a corner, which does add something slightly humorous about this conversation about what a good person she is.
Tara asks Xena if Gabrielle was born good.
This is a very deep conversation. And we've, of course, already had it while talking about hope nature versus nurture. Are people born good or evil?
Didn't we have this conversation back in The Price?
Probably. We've had this conversation.
This
We're going to
definitely has
have it
come up.
again,
This
I
always
would
comes
imagine
up.
as well.
It's rather a large
Yeah.
conversation. I think maybe Tara needs to go enroll in philosophy 101 or ethics, one of those.
Yeah. Well, Xena tells her, you are what you do. You can recreate yourself every second of your life.
See what I mean by everything in this script is like some kind of line.
Yeah.
And you're
like
like, here's
a
another
deep,
one.
powerful line.
Here's
It's an
another
RJ
one.
script. I think, RJ tends to be the most overtly philosophical of the Xena writers. And, I think he, of them all, is the most concerned with these particular ideas. Redemption.
Well, the show is concerned with the ideas.
Good. Yeah.
Well, Xena tells her, I believe in you. And it means a lot.
It's a really good line, especially because, what she's saying is, in a way, she's saying Gabrielle's line back to Tara. And you feel that in that moment, she's also saying that, Xena, can believe in herself because Gabrielle has said, I believe in you. And that also goes so nicely with her line about reinventing yourself. Or what is it? Recreating yourself every second of your life. I really love her expression for that line. Like, it's not an empowered, like, gentle expression, or even a hopeful expression. She looks, like, upset. She looks stressed out by this idea that every day of your life, every second of your life, you have to recreate yourself.
That is very stressful.
That's a burden. I mean, when you think about what that actually means, that every decision you make is creating who you are as a person, like, what a stressful way of, like, living
I mean,
your
this
damn life.
This is not only this episode, but it's the entire series for Xena.
Yeah. So I feel like that was such a perfect choice by Lucy, that she isn't, like, giving Tara wise words. She's saying something that she knows to be true, and it pains her. It stresses her out. The scene ends with this shot that I really love, and it does not have to be there, of Tara looking up at the night sky and seeing the shooting star. And it's just this quiet little moment where you're with Tara. It's not really, like, about anything. There's no RJ giving you a line about what it means to be good. It just felt like a way of being with the character and building sympathy for her. Just like, you got her in that sec. She was sleeping under the stars next to Xena. Life was beautiful.
It's actually really interesting because you see this moment twice, right?
Yeah.
So this part has a shooting star in it. This is where she was...
Does she make a wish, you think, on the shooting star?
Maybe, but this was the moment where Xena believes in her, so it's like a good, uplifting moment. We'll come back to this moment soon for the second time around. Also, the shooting star bit is totally repurposed for Xena and Gabrielle in vids.
Oh.
But also probably the show also reuses that shot.
Sure,
So
yeah.
it's fine.
It's a nice shot. Yeah, I feel like when I first saw this episode and was laughing a lot at Tara, being like, this character's ridiculous. What do we need with, like, the kid's sidekick? Like, this is never good in shows. I never need to see myself on screen with my heroes. Like,
This is you?
well,
You're Tara?
I feel like whenever you bring it, you actually said this when we were talking about having kids on Xena at all in Maternal Instincts.
Yeah.
That you don't want to, as a kid watching
Right.
Xena, you did not want to see kids on screen. You were just like,
But this
no.
was a teenager.
I know,
That's
she's
different.
cool. She has cool hair.
Yeah.
Be just like her. But, I think she is meant to be a Mary Sue.
Yeah.
She's the character that's closest to you. She's, like, hanging out with Xena and Gabs, doing all the cool things you want to do. Like, that's the idea behind this kind of a character, which I don't really buy it. I'm like, no, I don't need that.
I don't quite have all right, guys, I apologize in advance for this. I have a problem when, like, it's Joxer, but I don't have a problem when it's, like, a female character that they bring on to travel with them for a bit, like Cleopatra 2525 later.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Amarise.
Yes, Amarise. She's very similar to Amarise.
Yeah.
Tara is.
Yeah.
So it's just, I just don't like Tara's hair.
Yeah, I mean, I think actually Tara is interesting. As I said, this, like, fresh pair of eyes. I think that's important. As long as, like, the show isn't, like, trying to, like, jam it down your throat as, like, oh, look, this kid is having fun with Xena and Gabs just like you could be, little girl. But actually what I was trying to say is, like, this moment of Tara staring at the sky. When I first saw the episode, this was the moment when I first had sympathy for her. I just like felt her in that moment. She felt like a real person with like an inner life, that she takes this moment to just like enjoy nature.
I loved her since she said that thing about, you know, the wimps and the jerks. All right, so the next morning, you know, they arrive at the spot where the goons are going to trade the urn with the Cilician traders.
Blah, no one cares.
Xena, of course, you know, has to go off to investigate.
I know,
whatever.
she keeps inventing reasons to leave
yeah,
Gabs. Yeah. And she keeps claiming that that's not at all what she's doing, but it's obviously what she's doing. What have we ever seen an episode where she's just like, I'm just going to go over there for like 20 minutes. You guys, you're in charge.
So they're alone, and they have a moment to talk. Tara tells Gabrielle about Xena. She's like, she thinks you're perfect. And Gabrielle goes, she knows I'm not.
She loves me anyway. That's what friendship is about.
I liked it.
Katie, is that one of your lines that doesn't need to be there? Or do you like that one?
That's can stay.
Is that what friendship is about, guys?
The power of friendship. I just love that, you know, this is harkening back to the whole being on the pedestal thing.
Yeah.
So it's nice that Gabrielle acknowledges that she's not perfect.
I mean, it is fun that the episode after the end of the rift that is encompassed by those episodes is called Forgiven.
Yeah.
I think this episode actually was meant to air after King Kong, and they shifted it forward. I wonder if that was deliberate.
It's so hard to say King Kong.
It's King Kong.
King Kong.
Yeah.
King Kong.
Although weirdly, Gabrielle's charade, I thought she was performing King Kong.
I know, I did too, because she was doing
The
like
monkey,
big monkey
yeah, and then
arms.
a tiny lady.
Yeah. But I guess it was Agamemnon?
yeah.
I don't
That's
know. We'll get there.
she
We'll
said
get
it
there.
was.
But yeah, I liked this acknowledgement that Gabrielle understands that like those ideals have fallen away. They've killed those illusions. And now Xena loves Gabrielle for who she is, not for who she believes her to be.
Tara, of course, runs off, and Gabrielle is like annoyed and like follows her because Xena told them to wait where they were.
This is funny because Tara is crawling like towards the campsite, and Gabrielle like crawls after her. So for a few seconds you have this like crawl chase scene, and it's a little awkward, but very cute.
Yeah, she grabs her leg, and it's like it's just they're crawling and kind of whisper yelling at each other seems a lot louder than the branch that Tara breaks.
Yeah.
Which causes the goons to spot
Good
them.
point. They're like dogs. They only like hear certain frequencies.
Yeah.
Oh no, that's the opposite of what dogs are.
What? Who let the Gabs out? Woo. So anyway, the goons grab them up. There's that shot that they do twice in this one. Garth Maxwell loves this whole POV of the goons with the swords in your face, the camera's face. That
Oh,
is.
he's a good little cartoonish threatening shot.
So the gals are caught.
Xena comes back with her pizzas to find the whole room on fire.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Gabrielle and Tara are buried neck deep.
And then they're like, what's the trap? It's gonna like...
They're like two axes on ropes, and the ropes are over a fire, so the fire is steadily burning through the ropes, and then the axes will swing and cut off their heads.
That's
well,
very
they will
elaborate.
chop them right in the middle of their faces.
That's true. It will cut off their heads. They'll just have an axe.
Weird.
Yeah.
It's very elaborate.
And,
I don't know.
Oh no, the ropes burn and it goes off, but then it's caught right in front of their faces. Xena gets it. And then she's like really grumpily has to dig them out.
RJ is on record as saying that he knows this is silly, but they ran out of budget for an actual fight scene, so this was his solution. So think of that before you make fun of it.
TBH, I kind of like. I feel like more of these fight scenes should be
people buried in the dirt up to the neck with an axe.
Why would they take the time? They buried them so deeply.
Yeah.
Like
they're not like Bond villains. They're just a gang of young punks.
Yeah.
Does this seem fun to them?
I don't know. No internet.
So then we cut, and Gabs and Tara have both been dug out of the dirt, but they're perfectly clean.
They're perfectly clean, but they're like, there's a moment where she's like, brush.
But there's nothing there. They're both sparkling.
But Gabrielle's like at the end of her rope with Tara at this point.
I love the way she's like, Xena, can I talk to you for a minute?
Yeah, that was
like,
great.
Really good. Gonna rip out her throat.
And eat her eyeballs.
That's true. That was very graphic.
That's extra
I have
for
used a still of
Gabrielle.
that with the quotes on there in reaction posts.
I
on
can't work like
the
this.
internet.
I liked her line there. Bit of an actory line.
Yeah. So, of course, Xena rides off again to find the goons' trail and leaving the girls alone to work on their issues some more.
Yeah, so now Tara's really mad because Xena has given her a talking to because Gabs told her to. So now Tara's like, she hates me, you come between us.
So she attacks Gabrielle again. This time, Gabrielle is ready for the defense, She has her staff, and she uses it like she always does, which is in a defensive manner,
Mm-hmm.
And schooling her, saying,
Yeah.
stay down because Tara keeps getting up even after the shit's been kicked out of her.
Yeah.
It's one of those where she just will not stop fighting this girl. Like, she's not good at fighting, but she's tenacious. I think that's her overwhelmingly number one trait.
Yeah. So she's like all bloody and kind of like getting up slowly as Xena rides back.
I thought for sure this was all going to be some kind of crazy plan on Tara's part to, like, frame Gabs. Like, she just beat
Oh
me.
my God, yeah.
She beat me, Xena. She hates me. Xena, replace her with me.
That wouldn't work for 1 second.
That Gollum did that.
Oh my God.
Return of the King, and it worked real well.
I don't think it would work
to
in this
plant
instant.
the lembas breadcrumbs on her, and that would be it. That'd
Yeah.
be it. Yeah.
Not in this instance.
No, in this instance, she's Faith.
Yes, this is straight up Faith
Faith
from 5 by
from
5.
5 by 5, the season 1 episode of Angel. This is 100% that scene.
Shiri Appleby's better than Eliza Dushku, though.
No. But we can say that Xena did it first for this one for sure.
That's nice.
Because
I'll take it.
Instead of just going, I'm bad, I'm evil, she goes, I'm bad, I know I am.
I'm really, really bad.
I mean, it's the same premise where they fight, and then, the person was like instigating the fight for some sort of like punishment, and then ends up breaking down in the guiding figure's arms.
The warm bosom.
Of Angel? But, like, in this instance, like, Angel is 100% Xena. She even says, like, if we're comparing bad deeds, I can bury you.
That's
know?
true.
Like,
that is straight up
and
probably
she's
what
jealous.
Angel said
Like,
to Faith.
I mean, it's just,
Yeah.
I was,
Oh my
like, blown away
God,
by
you're
this.
right. This is so Buffy. Or Angel. Or something. And Angel's a spin-off, and Xena's a spin-off.
Oh, my God.
Whoa.
We're going deeper. The episode 5 by 5 of Angel, in terms of Faith's storyline, that's, like, directly after This Year's Girl and Who Are You? So we already know
ripped off
Yes.
Xena.
So it's still following the trend here.
Oh.
So after this, obviously, Gabrielle feels really guilty and upset. She goes and gets some water from a lily pond, and together she and Xena clean Tara up.
And Tara reveals her backstory,
Yeah.
which makes Gabrielle feel even worse.
Yeah, so what do we think about this backstory? It reminded me a bit of Meg's backstory.
Oh, interesting.
Backstory about trauma and absent/abusive parents. And a little girl trying to make her way in the world
Yeah.
on her own. Very similar.
Shiri Appleby did a really good job with this scene. I feel like this was like her audition scene, because it was really dramatic and like
Yeah,
you
well,
really had to sell.
Especially
like,
that, Mom, you better get up now. The men are throwing dirt on you.
I mean, that was
That was-
legit.
That was intense.
That was an unexpected.
And that she says, pretty dumb, huh?
Yeah.
Like, yeah. I mean, I really like the way this character is written. It's a little cheeseball, but it has these moments that work.
How
Sometimes
would you
cheese works.
feel? Well, this is interesting. I guess she works for me because she's a good actress who I know. What if
Yeah.
she was just like a regular, fine level actress who you didn't know?
I mean, I think it depends.
With
Like,
the whole
if
episode,
if
like-
it were Flora from the Black Wolf, that would not work. And it would be bad.
But she didn't have any kind of dramatic scene,
No,
Flora.
because she could not handle it. You know, it's very hard to separate. I think Shiri definitely sells this. You're right that like the writing on its own is not genius, where you can imagine any
Like,
actor
am I
slipping
more
in.
charmed and bemused by her performance because it's a child version of an actress that I know versus like a good actor who like
I don't know.
I don't know very well.
I feel like a lot of the people though that really stand out from the show,
Well, then you become a
know
good
them
actor
now
and you
because
know them,
they
yes.
became people.
I really do think this is a hard part to make likable, and I think she does it. I don't think it's just my goodwill based on Roswell and Unreal. I don't have all that much.
No, it's not. It's not
be
about
honest.
like goodwill towards like her career. Just
Yeah.
that like I find that it's impossible to like separate the fact that like I think it's funny that like
this
this
is
is
Shiri
a younger
Appleby.
like you know what I mean, like it's fun to watch people's early
Yeah.
stuff, so like I feel like that adds a layer to it that might be missing if this was just like a good kid actor who like was never in anything else.
But I feel like
A
this
little
scene,
of that for Carl Urban as well. You can't help but go.
I think we
Carl
talked about that with
Urban.
him before
Yeah.
on this.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the topic that I like clearly.
Yeah.
yeah, but I mean, like this particular scene, I thought it had for sure like a depth to it that the
It could have
kind
been
of
so laughable because she really is just like, let me tell you about my sad backstory. Don't you feel like I'm an idiot now? You don't feel bad for me at all, do you?
But she performed it legitimately. Like
Yeah.
she performed it to the point where I could see the intense, crazy, dramatic acting that she does on Unreal like shine through. Like I was like, oh, I could see how you would become this really great, super dramatic actress. Gabrielle definitely empathizes big time with this speech and, forgives her.
Gabrielle wants the same things that Tara wanted. You know, she wants to belong too. Think of that only gay in the village. Belonging was something she couldn't have.
Yep.
And I love that then after they've got her all cleaned up and she's kind of back together again, Gabs talks to Xena and compliments her. She thinks this was all part of Xena's master plan to leave the two of them alone and that they'd work it out.
Have some tough love.
Yeah, and that does seem to be at least a little the case. Xena confesses a bit there with that line about the tough love.
Well, the next scene is them playing charades, which we learned Gabrielle has invented.
Another thing. Well, usually it's Xena who
Yeah.
does the inventing. For once, it's nice to see Gabrielle do so.
I loved all of this.
This is the best scene in the episode.
Yeah.
It's
All around.
It reminds me a lot of A Day in the Life. I mean, in
Yeah.
a way, this whole episode, it's, because the plot is so thin, you get a lot of these little scenes of just people sitting around, like talking, arguing about where they're going to sleep. Like, it's very domestic. And this is number one most domestic.
Yeah. So Gabrielle / Renee are two of them.
They're both good.
They're both amazing in this
Really,
part.
I have a life goal to play charades with Renee O'Connor.
She's amazing in this because it was like a lot of acting out, silent movie style, like lots of acting over exaggeration and whatnot. And we, as we mentioned previously, thought it was King Kong, but it's not. I was like, oh my god,
That would be amazing if she invented King Kong.
Right? I was like, she's like, it's a big giant monkey.
I said King Kong. I finally
no.
got it right, and it was wrong. I love how bad Xena is at guessing the charades. She is so bad.
She's just yelling out plays she knows.
Yeah, once she finds out that
it is a play. Before that, she's yelling out myths she knows. So.
But yeah, I love that she was like, oh, this is too hard. I'll never catch on.
I feel like the reason she's so bad is that she's just sitting there marveling at how cute Gabrielle is. Because this is peak cuteness. All these little miming gestures that she's doing.
Yeah.
Legit.
It's so adorable. I also love that the soundtrack here for Gabs is like this old-timey, like, silent movie soundtrack.
Yeah.
Like, plinky, plinky, plink on the
I mean,
piano.
yeah, that's what I said. Like, that's what I mean by her, the way she's acting it out, which is just so good. Like, all of it. She's doing amazing. Both her and Renee.
Yeah, and then Xena does this really... I love the Xena's sarcastic, like, slightly defensive. Like, Xena's not, like, being bad at something. It happens so rarely.
She's definitely bad
When
at
she's
it.
like, we don't know, and sort of twirls her fingers in a way that mimics Gabrielle's miming. So yeah, Gabrielle, it turns out, is depicting Iphigenia at Owls, which is a Euripides play. My friend
man.
Euripides, one of his last plays.
And
Yeah, which
Xena has not
really
kept up.
fucks up the timeline.
Oh,
He's,
no.
like, retired now.
She's like, it's not my problem. You don't keep up with contemporary theater.
Oh my god, she's such a snap.
When are they going to keep up with when does she keep
Yeah,
up with
she
contemporary
goes
theater?
into every village and is just like, what's new in the theater scene?
Time
miss
out.
so much.
She reads the time out. Potadia.
Potadia wouldn't have a time.
Yeah, timeout happens.
I guess so. Time out. So then Tara's like, oh, I got one. And she does this really quick, amazing one. This is where you're talking about her, like, the soundtrack that's happening.
Just like,
She's just so good at it, too. They're like, this is...
Did you get this? I did not, I can say. I was so confused.
I would have gotten it if I was thinking about
not as
it.
fast
I was
as
too
Gabs.
much marveling at how they were, like, depicting it. Because, like, if you ask me to depict, like, some kind of ancient theme... I'm bad at charades, so there you go. I would fail. But,
Just like Xena.
yeah, Xena does not know. Gabrielle is like Monica from Friends at this point. She's like, boom, it's Zeus birthing
Yes.
Aphrodite, you know.
So then they go to sleep, all three of them on one blanket.
Yeah.
Real cute. Tara's in the middle.
And Gabs is totally cool with that at
Gabs
this
is
point.
fine with it.
Good night, Xena.
Yeah, everybody says goodnight to everybody, and Xena's so mad about it.
Yeah, they even say goodnight to Argo.
I like that they said goodnight to Argo. They remember her.
Good night, Tara. Good night, John Boy. They're Waltonsing.
You're right. That's probably, they're deliberately referencing Waltons, yeah. This is the second Tara
Right.
looking at the sky
Yeah.
moment.
So I thought it was really interesting that she does. There's no shooting star here in this moment because, like, I'm like, oh, they're
her
gonna.
wish came true.
Well, it's interesting because I was like, oh, they're gonna reuse the same shot clearly because why that would save them
they
money.
couldn't have two shots of the night sky.
So they don't. There is no shooting star, and now I realize because she was gonna go do bad things, so she doesn't get a shooting star.
Oh, you're right. That's what she's thinking in this moment,
Yeah.
looking up. Oh, I have a feel.
Yeah. So she sneaks off in the middle of the night after everyone's asleep and goes and makes out with a goon.
Oh my god, and of course it's that one goon who we all noticed because he was like just
The
a
hotter one?
beaver goon.
Beaver goon.
Beaver goon.
Yeah, he was one of the dudes who originally stole the urn.
That bastard. The next morning, the three of them sneak up to the castle where the traitors' horses are parked or something. I don't know. I'm still not following this.
They're in
plot,
the
you
castle
guys.
at this point.
Whatever.
Gonna trade this urn.
Why is it taking so long to trade this urn? Don't ask questions.
I don't know why the traders switched places.
Yeah.
Whatever.
So needlessly complicated.
yeah. And Tara's acting a little bit weird about the urn.
I love that Tara is really worried. She does not want the urn to have any kind of power.
Yeah.
Because then she's going to feel really guilty for
Yep.
having taken it and deprived these people of their forgiveness.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was so sweet that, like, what she worries about is that the urn may be real. And
Yeah.
she needs Gabrielle to reassure her that it's not.
Mm-hmm.
That was good writing on RJ's part. That was not forcing it down our throats.
No, and it's very believable. That's a very human thing for Tara to be doing right then.
And this is again a reminder in Gabrielle's answer that she's open to the idea. She's not willing to say no. It's just a piece of pottery.
She has guilt.
She has the guilt.
So they make it into the castle, and they're now looking for the urn. Tara makes it as if she doesn't know where it is, but then of course she clearly does,
Oh my
snatches it and
This
runs away.
scene was staged so weird. Xena is just like looking in this one laundry basket for the urn. It is straight up a laundry basket, and she's looking in it for like 10 minutes. Just like standing there holding it and being like, is it this? Is it this? Is it this? It's not Xena. It obviously isn't. Meanwhile, Tara just like looks under a table, and the urn is so obviously there. Tara like looks around like, did
I don't
anybody
know where
see
it
me?
is.
And that's just like, what happened here, guys? Was this like the period after lunch where like your brain stopped working? Because this scene made no sense in the way it was plot.
So Tara runs to her goon boyfriend, and it's revealed that they had a whole plan here to steal this urn from the other goons, and they're going to sell it on their own and make all this money and run off together.
But Tara's feeling weird about the urn and feels like she'd rather just run off without actually making the sale, which of course Micah / Bieber Goon is not feeling.
Well, he reveals that he was gonna kill her.
Yeah,
So,
anyway.
Yeah.
Poor Tara. That seems low. What did she do to deserve that? I guess I know.
So she runs away from him and with the urn runs into the room where all the bartering for this urn is taking place between the traders and the goons.
God, why?
It's all a setup for this crazy stunt where they throw the urn around like a baby.
Oh man, it would be way more fun though if it were a baby.
Yeah.
An urn is not as funny.
Yeah.
It's just an urn.
Yeah, so it has like crazy moments where Gabrielle has to do the dive to catch the urn.
That was a good bit.
And then they throw the urn again, and there's like a sound effect to it as it flies up in the air.
I also really like that it's Tara who tosses the urn first to Gabs, and I like that she threw it to Gabs first, not to Xena. That she trusts Gabs. Like, that felt like a really nice show of respect.
Yeah.
That's how you know they cool. Tara in the end kicks Micah in the face. She gets her revenge.
What happened to the other goons? I literally don't remember how they got.
They got hit.
Oh,
they
Xena
fell
took 'em
over.
out.
They're done with the scene.
Okay.
They're gone. Don't worry about those other goons.
Tara, so they rescued the urn.
They rescued the urn, and Tara's like, "I did it, didn't I?
I did good."
Yay!
I had a feel, and I loved Xena and Gabrielle being like, "You're our daughter now."
Yeah.
Basically, they were like proud moms.
And also making it clear as something that I think was smart, that Xena had known all along that she was affiliated with the goons, and that this was all clearly some plan that she had hatched with Bieber Goon. But she believed in her. She knew she'd make the right choice eventually, which is a sweet way of looking at this. It's not Xena being gullible and dumb. It's Xena hoping for the best.
Yeah.
Which is something Gabrielle has totally taught her, seeing the best in people who don't necessarily look the best.
She does not look the best. Remember her hair? The urn is back in the temple, and the cleansing ceremony can begin once again.
Okay, this is good.
Is
This
this
is
like
great.
Catholicism? Is this like a holy water kind of a business?
I think that it's very clearly doing stuff that's recognizable to us. I mean, obviously, I think there's ancient Greek stuff that uses a version of holy water, and like I was trying to read up on this
Oh, cool!
see, but I didn't find that much, probably because I didn't search long enough.
But of course, we just went through
ancient Greeks,
bittersweet, where water was this purifying.
Yeah, and it's like back and back and back. But I just think that like when we're watching something now, like that, the first thing you're gonna think of is something very like Christian or Catholic. To me, and like my 12 years of Catholic school, it read completely that way.
And
but
of course any
there's
discussion of forgiveness
ancient
and
Greek
guilt
stuff.
makes me think of Catholicism.
Yeah,
It's
exactly,
just your number one for that.
exactly. So I think that there's ancient antecedent, or is that the right word? Antecedents, like for it. But then the actual visual and the dialogue seems to me to be very in a Catholic vein. And then also I love the moment when like Gabrielle comes into the shot and kneels down too, because you feel like it's a little foreshadowy for later, for just things that she's interested in.
Yes. Well, yeah, I think that's a really great beat here, is that just Gabrielle is always looking for something.
Yeah,
She's
she's
just looking for,
always
that's what
looking
got
for
her into trouble with Dayhawk, was her looking for that thing that'll give her her purpose and help her make sense of life. And here she is, after Dayhawk, still looking for that thing.
Well, regardless, this is I thought, amazing moment where both Tara and Gabrielle do the ceremony,
Yeah, and you feel, that they're doing it together, and it's this thing that brings them closer together, asking forgiveness. And then a shadow falls over them from behind, which is a wonderful shot.
Yeah.
You know what that is.
It's Jayhawk.
Oh, no.
No, it's just really interesting how, in my opinion, the opening and closing shots of this episode just do not mesh with the rest of this episode, in the sense that they're amazing, and the rest of the episode is good. Like, it's good.
It's more regular.
The beginning and end are just like so powerful,
Yeah.
like just all around.
And it helps that there's no dialogue. They're just these wordless.
Oh, it's so good. Just like
carry so much
everything
weight.
about it. Yeah, the visualization of like her shadow in the back. Like Xena can't go into this temple. She can't even go in.
Right.
Like
she's
it's
standing in the
crazy.
door. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Oh.
Maybe that's why, because the beginning and the end are so great and they're, much quieter, that like the philosophical talk throughout this episode is a little bit more, I don't think it's bad, I just think it's like a little repetitive, you know what I mean?
It's just noticeable.
And I don't mind, like, because I feel like I've said this a few times this episode, but I don't mind at all usually when this show is really overt, because it's usually very earnest, and I think that that's like a great quality that the show has. So like,
it's very engaged in these issues. You often see Xena and Gabrielle just discussing outright like what's the right thing to do.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's not like that I'm saying that it's not good per se, just that like this episode just had an extra amount.
Yeah, it might just be a thing where you could go through it with a red pen and cut like 2 lines out of it. And just be a little tighter.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about Xena's face in this moment.
Well, I know you said that there is no dialogue, and there isn't on Xena, but
Oh,
however,
that's true.
Tara does like
She's like,
textualize.
why isn't she,
Doesn't she want to be forgiven?
Oh, you're right. Thumbs down.
I blocked it out to be great.
Exactly.
Oh, it would have played so much better silently.
But Tara doesn't really know Xena, so we
maybe
kind of
she would have been
allow it.
confused.
Yeah.
She would have been like, is she coming here to kill us? What is this ominous looming?
Yeah, so Xena, as we mentioned, does not even go into the temple, and we have this amazing shot of her face.
And it's like this giant sun is setting behind her. Usually when you have a character in the sun, it's like it means the opposite of what it means here. She's stepping into the light. She's good now. But that is not the case here.
Yeah.
She can't bear the idea of being forgiven.
Yeah. And she walks into the sun and burns up!
No.
Right.
Very, very large.
The Apollo-y sun. So I read a quote from RJ where he said that this is meant to recall the final shot of The Searchers, where John Wayne walks off. He can't even bear to go into the house where the happy family reunion is taking place. And there too, actually, the family is in darkness. You see him as a silhouette against the outdoor light.
I feel like the shot they chose here is a lot more, it's just more powerful.
Yeah, I like that it's much closer on her face.
Yeah.
In The Searchers, it's a wide shot. Here, you're really getting like that moment, that emotional beat. You really see everything that's going on with Xena, and it's a lot. I feel like it's hard to even say precisely what that emotion is. Like, is it disappointment, like that Gabrielle's doing it? Is it envy? Is it sadness? Is it fear? Is she afraid of forgiveness? Is this actually like, should I? No, I can't. It's too scary a prospect to ask for. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's all those things.
All those things and more.
This moment is another example of Xena punishing herself. It's like she's doing a penitence walk here at the end.
Which is funny because, well, I guess so. She is a penitent. Like, she doesn't want to be forgiven. She wouldn't be a penitent anymore after that forgiveness. Mm-hmm. Like, that purpose would be gone that's driving her. So instead she walks off, still in search of it. Mm-hmm. Like, she rejects this easy path and says, no, I have to walk this harder one. I really love that RJ hearkened it to The Searchers, because it's so amazing to have a female character in that John Wayne part, who can't go in, who can't accept that, like this anti-hero who, I don't know, like a female John Wayne is not a thing I ever expected to see, and I love it.
Have we ever mentioned that Xena, Warrior Princess, the character, is amazing and very unique?
No, I don't think we ever have.
I think that's it for this one, right?
I think that's it. We're forgiven.
Let's talk about King Kong.
It's a good movie.
Which version?
I like the Peter Jackson one.
Yeah.
And that one from the 30s. But not the Jessica Lange one. But I haven't seen that King Kong with Tom Hiddleston. I bet it's bad.
Oh,
Oscar winner Brie Larson?
Yes, that's true. You're right. Shame on me. I still think it's probably bad.
Well, you know what else is bad?
Ba-dum-bum.
315, King Khan.
earlier you said these were both not that bad.
Well, we were comparing it to Ulysses, which is maybe
Yeah.
the worst.
I
would
just
switch
think
places.
this is unfairly high on the list. Like, it's a mediocre episode. I think the reason it's so high is just by nature of where it sits in the run of episodes.
After Forgiven?
After the rift. Well, and I think Forgiven too. I certainly saw a lot of reviews grumbling about it, how annoying Tara was. I wonder if that would just be more palatable in a different place.
People were just started being used to what we have now, which is serialized storytelling, and
I think this is a fan vote, and I think there's a lot of Joxer and a lot of people being asked to care about Joxer and a lot of heterosexuality.
oh my god, this is like
Those
And
are
I
the
think that's why
things
it's
this
that
is one of
scare
my
you up
favorite
on that.
Joxer episodes, guys.
Is it
no
because he's
joke.
not
He's
in
not
it?
quite in it.
No, because it's like it's the most realistic Joxering,
'Cause he just gets beaten
yeah,
to a pulp and then
it-
is not in it.
right, and it's like he's realistic is the only word I can say.
He's a liability, I think, in a way that he isn't usually in an episode. Like, here he really is just, like, dead weight.
Yeah.
So what is this episode about?
Wait. Guys, it's
Well-
written by Chris Mannheim and directed by Janet Greek,
Which is
Chris.
a great name.
who's a woman, and she only directs things that are set in ancient Greece.
What's sad is this is one of only 2 episodes so far that we've seen of Xena that's written and directed by women. And it sucks, this one.
Yeah, it's bad.
It is a bad,
I have
bad
I have
episode.
a great quote from Rob about this episode. Rob says, "I didn't like this episode. It didn't work for me. I don't like the romantic Xena stories. They don't work for me. A story set against gambling and doing a sting just wasn't a good idea. That's it."
I'm joking. There's no more left to say.
We're done. The episode's over.
Tell us what you really feel, Rob. Jeez.
Doesn't work for him.
So that does include Ulysses.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
Despite what Gabrielle says, Rafe is not Xena's type.
He's
my
a
opinion.
nice guy.
Yeah.
Or not a nice guy like nice guy syndrome, but like he's nice.
It was just it was, you see Chris Mannheim, and it's been a while since we had this, but there was some forced heterosexuality down our throats.
It's been a while because she wrote Maternal Instincts.
Yeah.
She co-wrote The Bittersweet.
Yeah, and we forgot. We forgot what
Mannheim
she was
was on
brought
a
in here
roll.
for.
She's soon to be writing my favorite episode of all time.
But this is her roots.
We're sorry.
Yeah.
We're
Chris, we love
sorry.
you.
We love
do
you,
love
Chris. We even sort
I
of have a soft spot for your heterosexual agenda. Whenever we see your name, we go, will it be one of them? Oh, it is. Bless her. Gabrielle's doing ooey gooey eyes on Joxer's supine form.
I just will never get over it. The love of Gabs Joxer.
Yeah, she's pushing that shit
But-
hard here.
I do like it in the way that it does actually always play out on the show. So maybe they're always writing it good in the sense that like it's just never
never a
really a thing.
thing,
And it's
yeah.
always just like
I
him
feel like
pining.
Yeah, he pines and she feels this kind of obligation to him because he pines. That's at least how I interpret it. She
Yeah.
feels bad for him.
Yeah.
And then later, she gets used to the attention, and it's again
That's
one of my
true.
favorite Gabrielle things.
Yeah, that's a good point. There are interesting things
Yeah.
come from this stuff, which is why the heterosexual agenda isn't just in and of itself a bad thing.
It's weird 'cause none of this is actually real, but like I feel more offended when they try to do boyfriends of the week for Xena
I
than I
know.
do whenever there's Joxer Gabrielle.
I agree. Well, so many of the boyfriends of the week for Xena just don't seem worthy of her.
No.
Yeah, oh
they're
gosh.
just such like this guy's a schmo. He's a slightly more appealing schmo than Ulysses.
This guy is attractive. I can see her being like into the fact that he looks nice.
Yeah,
That's
they
literally the only thing.
they have some matching
got-
blue
yeah.
eyes. Yeah,
He
Yeah,
wears
this actor
Ulysses
is
and-
Patrick Fabian.
Yeah.
He's
A working actor.
For 20 years was IMDb. What else does IMDb say about this guy?
He's been in a lot of stuff, yeah. So he has not dropped off the face of the earth.
He was on
Better
Veronica
Call
Mars.
Saul.
Better Call Saul.
All sorts of things. Saved by the Bell.
I guess so.
Iconic role.
Oh, yeah.
In the college years. Anyway, we know him as Rafe.
Mm-hmm.
Fines.
I mean, is he? He's Rafe Fine.
He's Ray Fine. Okay. Give it to him.
He's King Khan of the episode.
I guess.
So,
King of Cons?
yeah,
Is he that good?
that's him, yeah.
I guess.
Because him and that
Elden.
guy who was on Xena already.
Yes,
is-
Deiphobus.
right, and
Paris's
also
evil backstabbing brother in
yeah,
Greeks Bearing Gifts.
same hair, has not changed it.
Nope.
And
Still looking fine.
no, that's not him.
No, I know.
They have this bet where he's like, I'm gonna make Xena kiss me, and that's Rafe. That's the bet, because he's hot.
30 dinars.
Is it worth it? What would you bet to kiss Xena?
I mean, how much would I pay for Xena to kiss me? It's a different question than
That's-
this
yeah.
bet, which I would lose.
That's very true. Anyway, so that's like why he's King Khan, because it's like the biggest con ever.
But it's not even a con. Yeah, it's so dumb. I don't know. I was trying to like chart Rafe's kind of character growth over the course of the episode, and it's like impossible to do because he's not really a character. Like I was really personally offended by that moment right after he's made the bet with Eldon. He does that thing where he bustles around Joxer's bedside, like tucking him in, like touching his face. And it's just, he literally does like touch his face, like, is he okay? And then like laboriously like tucks the, like does hospital quarters on this blanket. Like he is so tucked in, he's mummified. And I was just like, why is this guy doing this? You're supposed to be like, oh, it's for the bet. Or is it? Is he just a really nice guy?
He's nice guy fine.
Yeah. Both Xena and Gabrielle look at this being like, oh, he's so nice. I'm rethinking this dude. And you're just like, no, this is dumb. He's still fixing that bed. He's been fixing it for 15 minutes. He's just laying it on so thick. And I don't know. I felt like this guy was too nice from the start. If he had been like a little bit more of like the lovable rake where you're like, I don't know if I can trust anything he says because he's a con artist, then I might feel better about it. But I feel like they just went too far in the direction of, no, he's actually nice.
I just think
This bet isn't for real because he wants to kiss her because he loves her.
But we've seen this already, like a million times on this show. I mean, starting with like Autolycus, that's the same character. He does cons.
It's the exact same
He's
character.
like, I'm bad, but I'm not.
This
I'm
may have
giving
been
the
some
money
early
away.
form Ben and Autolycus script.
Oh my
this
god!
feels
You know
very.
what? Maybe you're
Then
right.
I'd be fine with
Yeah,
it.
I would be fine with it. Yeah, they're doing a con in a casino.
I would be fine with all parts
Ridiculous casino plot. with
Is it because you
Bruce.
know the actor who plays Autolycus?
Yes.
As opposed
Plus,
to this
I
actor you
love
don't know?
Lucy and Bruce's chemistry.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
fun. And obviously you wouldn't have this business with the bet. You would have something else, which would probably be more entertaining to us.
Yeah, that wouldn't be part of it.
Yeah. Yeah, I do think the bet is just dumb. Like, you would just immediately know exactly beat for beat what this plot line is going to be. How about that scene where he gets her a neck rub?
Oh my god!
Very heterosexual.
That was the most.
The
I mean, that
most.
was like when Xena is basically losing. I mean, she's gonna kiss. She
Yeah.
goes in. She goes in
for
to
the
eat
kiss.
his face. Like, it's really intense.
Yeah, she's eager.
She's an open mouth kisser.
Yeah, she is.
And some
Thank
lady
God
walks in
for
and
it.
cock blocks them, thankfully. Jesus.
Thank you.
What would have happened,
What did
guys?
she see in this guy?
I don't know.
Has it just been a while? She's just horny?
Man, we really were just kind of got right
Diving
in there.
in, much like Lucy with the open mouth kissing thing.
She couldn't control herself next to
Ray
Patrick
Fine.
Fabian. Yeah, we're fine. Well, maybe we should like circle back for a second and just
Tell people what this episode is about.
What is this episode about besides
It's
cons?
apparently a Xena-ified remake of The Sting, a movie I have not seen. Have either of you guys seen it?
Was that Robert Redford?
Yep. Nope.
Yeah.
Listen,
So, yeah.
I know it's a famous movie. Listen, there are lots of movies. I haven't seen a lot of them. This is one of those ones where my dad would be like, how have you not
Shocked.
seen this?
I have to be honest,
there's just a lot of movies,
I saw
okay?
in the descriptions that, people are like, oh yeah, The Sting. And I was like, what's The Sting? Is that something I should know? And then looked it up and was like, no, don't really feel it.
Yeah, I'm like, after seeing this episode, I'm like, I don't want to see it.
Yeah, apparently it's very close in plot. There's like a kid who's
there a
beaten
bet?
up, and then Robert Redford's like, I gotta get my revenge via cons. I don't know.
Well, I guess I prefer it when Xena does it at least.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true. Everything's always better when
With
Xena does
Xena,
it. I
yeah.
think that's the philosophy for these episodes that borrow from a movie.
Well, it's Joxer here who gets beat up. He is, we find out how he can afford his designer boots. That's good. I
He's
like
Mr.
that.
Jackpots.
That's-
Hello!
That's from Twin Peaks The Revival.
Jinx.
For anyone who has not seen it, Showtime.
It was just so, that was the only thing I could think
Yeah.
about during that scene where he is just
Mr.
crazy lucky. Right, Mr. Lucky.
Yeah. That's how he can afford all his designer boots, because he is good at gambling. And he wins 100 dinars and leaves the casino, then proceeds to be conned by Rafe and Eldon. But meanwhile, the casino owner, Titus, sends his sons after him to get the money back.
And they
And
beat him up.
those
and they
dudes,
can't find
I mean,
it.
he gets conned by the guys, and they take all his money.
And his sword. So
And
he
his
can't
sword,
defend
yeah.
himself.
Oh,
when
right,
he's
because
attacked.
that would have helped.
Right.
And,
Eye roll.
and he gets really intensely, violently, very realistically beat up like he should be every episode.
So you're happy about that.
I mean, I'm not happy they got beat up, but I'm happy that it was, given its due.
I'm also glad he got conned by over elaborate math,
Oh
which
my
to
God.
me is the easiest way to con someone. Like trying to calculate a tip. I've conned so many people by accident.
By giving them too much tip.
Yeah, absolutely. That's my long con.
Yeah.
Being too generous.
So then Xena needs to get revenge and kind of like guilt trips the two con men to help her out. And
And what follows is a series of increasingly elaborate cons. And Xena keeps going like, oh, I just need to take this guy for all he's worth. And you're like, do you?
yeah,
Is
and
this important?
at the end of the day, the Titus, the casino owner's like most valuable possession is a ruby.
Yeah.
And it's like more valuable to him than his son. So
sure.
that's how it is.
These were
boils
not
down to it.
characters. It made me wistfully think back to Chariots of War, which
Uh-oh.
immediately tells you something's going wrong here. And the warlord and his son there
Yeah.
were, there wasn't much with them, but what was there was a little intriguing.
I like the son here. This relationship kind of reminded me of Mad Max Fury Road.
What? Okay, you're
With,
trying to make this sound good.
Well, no, like the relationship between the father and the
And the
son.
son.
You know,
That's
he's
good.
like, what's his face? Rictus.
Rictus and Joe. Well, it didn't work for me. To me, they both felt like really flat characters. That there was just no sense of like an actual relationship between them, and I just did not care about Xena conning these guys out of their money.
It's so elaborate. Her schemes.
Well, that's the thing about it. Like, when it just becomes like this convoluted, like layer upon layer of like story, I literally lose the plot. I'm like, what?
Yeah, I mean, I think it intends you to, because it
Yeah.
doesn't actually make any sense. Like, if you were to expend that brain power completely needlessly trying to follow along, it doesn't hang together. So, like, yeah, people, I feel like, do this kind of over elaborate thing to, like, deceive you as a viewer so that you can't actually notice that there is no plot.
Those are always my last favorite Xenas. I feel like when we start talking and I like cannot explain what's going on in any kind of reasonable, straightforward manner, then you know that like it's like not the best one.
I thought it was pretty simple.
She wants revenge.
Yeah. It's,
Well, yeah,
it's just,
but
and
I'm
then
just
she just
like,
does
but
cons.
I guess it's not that
Cons.
convoluted. Maybe isn't the right word.
But why
It's
does she
just
need
like
to recruit these
there's-
guys to help her with cons?
I don't know.
Like, can't she do cons?
Right?
Are
Just do the
cons not one
cons.
of her many skills?
Mm.
Is it because Gabrielle's ankle is?
Oh,
is
You know
yeah.
what it probably is? It's just like disinterest means you like don't follow.
Yeah, there you go, Katie.
As opposed to being complicated.
So let's talk about Gabrielle's ankle here.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that was so
This is
cute.
a second sprain, right? They
This is the
established
real-
that via voiceover that this isn't.
This may be the most charming part
They
of the
said
episode.
that?
Well, because this episode aired after
Oh no.
Forgiven, where her ankle was
Was
fine.
fine.
So we are asked to believe that this is another sprain
Oh, no.
after the one
I
against Bernardi
totally
sprain.
mentally like
You just
put it
completely forgot
Yeah.
Forgiven existed.
Yeah.
This was a real injury.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
So she's
because of
hopping
this.
around.
What a trooper that she filmed this while.
She had a fight with that
Yeah.
one leg. It's
Yeah.
crazy. Oh
And
my
so
God.
it's really cute.
Yeah.
It is
Like
really
this a
sweet.
point. This alone makes it automatically better than Ulysses.
Ulysses. Oh hell yeah!
Because it was so cute.
I mean, at least you had that to look at.
Point to it. But the other thing with Gabrielle this episode that drove me bonkers is that
Talking about Rafe as Cena's type.
this episode does not pass the Bechdel test.
Ugh.
Written by a woman, directed by a woman, does not pass the Bechdel test. Every
Bleh.
scene between Xena and Gabrielle is about Joxer or Rafe.
Well, this is where I
Right.
was like, Vera, we were watching it, and I said, "Who wrote this?"
Yeah.
And what did you say? You
I
said
think you-
Chris.
Oh, sorry.
And I said, why does she hate us? Because it's just like, yeah, I don't know. It just doesn't make any sense.
She likes boys.
I
Wants to
I mean, I
inflict
get it.
them on us.
But like, okay, help me out here. When does this happen again? Does it happen again? Surely this shit stops
Soon.
soon.
The only other time I can picture is Anthony and Cleopatra.
Okay,
and
yeah.
that's a
Which
long
is
ways
totally
away.
allowable for
Yeah.
700 reasons.
Yeah.
That gets
Yeah.
a pass from me.
So I think this is a last gasp of this
Okay,
kind
cool.
of plot, probably because the writers looked at the finished product and said, like, this just doesn't make any
Doesn't make
sense.
sense no
What's
more.
this doing as
How-
an episode?
Yeah, so
What
like,
about Eli?
well, Eli's
Oh,
different.
that's different.
Okay.
Eli's different.
Okay,
Ooh,
okay,
that's
okay,
different.
okay,
Okay.
Yeah. Chris does hate us sometimes.
No, but she's great because she wrote my favorite episodes.
No, I mean, again, Chris does her thing.
Mhm.
And, like, this just...
This
it's a version
episode's
of it that does not
entire
work.
purpose was about Xena and Rafe, and like the Joxer Gabrielle thing is like side plot. It's like plot B, you
Yeah.
know? And it's like, why would they be spending time together talking about anything other than these ridiculous mofos that are in this episode, you know?
Yeah.
Of course it wouldn't pass the Bechdel test.
Yeah. I did like Gabrielle's line about Xena liking bad boys. I like when Xena
Well, that's
gets called
consistent.
out for her terrible taste.
That was fun, yeah.
But yeah,
But
I
he-
totally agree with your assessment that Rafe, despite being a con artist, is not a bad boy.
Right.
Like,
so that
he-
line was unnecessary.
Yeah, he's just too good. He's too
Yeah.
nice as a guy. He's
Yeah.
not dangerous.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't
That's-
get that, frisson of like, threat about him,
Right.
like Bariah's.
Mm.
Oh, yeah.
So in the world of narrative that this lives in, where it's still being its episodic self, and we have these conceptions going on of people and their relationships, what do you do with like stuff like this? I just ignore it. Like, I just so
It's
bad
so
I
easy
just
to
ignore it. Like,
'Cause
I
it does
don't
feel
care
like its
about
own
it.
bubble
Yeah.
universe. It's
Yeah.
not like anyone's ever gonna reference Rafe again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
At the
like
end, when
so
he's like, "I hope we meet
inconsequential.
again," and she's like, "Yeah," and you're like, no.
He goes into that pile of all the other characters who ended episodes with like, "Till we meet again." No.
Looking at you, Taurus.
Looking at you, dirty six people.
This is definitely, I think, on the Dirty Six level
Yeah.
for season 3 episodes where you're just like, what happened?
Yeah, I think that's another thing where they're always constantly trying to come up with characters that they could like pocket for, guest starring roles later
And
on.
sometimes it works, like Tara from Forgiven,
Yeah.
who is memorable and sweet and a great marriage of material and actor. And here you have Patrick Fabian, who is a charming actor, and I don't think he has terrible chemistry with Lucy, but it's a
No.
little hard to tell because I think their material is just so dumb.
Meh. Yeah.
Like their flirting is just like really just like write a scene in 1 minute that's a woman flirting with a man, and it's this. It's just very paint by
Yeah.
numbers.
I buy it much more than Ulysses.
I would have been more okay with this episode, now that I think about it, if the plot was more about how Rafe and Eldon were like the subtext.
Ooh.
And
I was interested in their relationship.
I really thought
now
that
you bring it up.
for a little bit, I thought that Eldon was jealous
Yeah.
of like Rafe being,
Into
taken away
Xena,
from
yeah.
him. So I was like, oh, I'm into this.
Yeah, if Eldon's betrayal had been legit, that would have been interesting if it was out of sexual jealousy.
Yeah, and I thought that him and Gabrielle
This
had
is like
a
a better
moment.
version of this plot. Yeah. You could have had Xena and Gabrielle.
Yeah, I thought Gabrielle was
Rafe
a
and
little
Eldon.
bit jealous too. Yeah, so yeah.
I do think it's funny that poor Eldon actor is typecast as that guy who betrays people.
Okay, wait a second. I wrote that in my notes and then crossed it out
because
it was a
it's not-
fake out.
it's a fake
and I was
out.
like, good for you,
Maybe
Eldon
they're using
actor.
like diaphabets.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
They're like, oh, people think he's gonna be the
Yeah,
traitor.
because look at his face,
No.
and he's the bad hobbit.
But he comes through. Well, let's talk about the one really redeeming feature of this episode, which is one of Xena's many skills, we find out.
Gambling.
The gambling.
Yeah, I could have like a half hour of her just blowing on those.
I know,
dice.
that was a beautiful close-up.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
I love the whole casino set.
Yeah, the
It
casino
was
was great. I
real
love the
silly.
beats
Yeah.
and everything about it, and like the crane shot in there, and just like had like
The
sumo wrestling.
Yeah, that was so fun. I like that one moment when Gabs just like stops in front of it and like is just checking it out. Like
Yeah.
and they like I think it's her and Eldon talking,
Yeah.
like have a whole dialogue scene where they're both just watching some wrestling.
Yeah. I totally loved it. And yeah, Xena was really funny gambling. Just like, Mama needs a new pair of sandals.
She had when she started winning with Rafe's help, like she has this little noise that
Yeah.
she does whenever she wins. It's like,
It was really good.
It's a little bit of Meg maybe creeping
Meg is
through.
the role play character basically.
Yeah,
she
I
is.
was trying to figure out what was going on with that role play character. I thought New Yorker version.
Yeah,
of
I was
Meg.
gonna say Meg from Queens.
Meg from Queens.
Yeah.
That's great. Tara's from New Jersey. This lady's from Queens.
Yeah, so that's like an extra elaborate bit of conning that they do.
And that was such a scene for Autolycus, I
Yes.
felt. Because we always have those scenes where
we've seen
Xena
all
and
this stuff
Autolycus
before, yeah.
dress up and run a con.
Mhm.
So yeah, I wonder if in some very early stage this was a Bruce script.
Yeah, I believe it. Yeah. And what about Joxer? Is he dead?
He's not dead.
He's just being he's in this very nice set too. This temple set
Yeah.
with this goddess statue and this like golden light shining out from it. Very pretty, lots of candles.
We were talking in Forgiven about how realistic the fighting was with Tara and Gabrielle. And then you have this one where they like really beat the shit out of him. And the makeup is
great.
really, really good. Yeah. And I'm pretty sure that that was done because it had to be so bad that they wanted the audience to feel actually bad.
That's true, and we don't often feel bad for Joxer.
I think that's why I liked it. Like
Yeah.
I said, this is
Taking
you
it
do.
so far. And the
It's
fact that
serious.
in a way that he speaks so little, he is this sort of altered presence where you're like, oh, this poor guy, this isn't like him.
Well, then that there was really a consideration that people, because everyone was, well, not everyone obviously, but fandom was quite vocal in the Joxer hatred, that people wouldn't be by Xena wanting to like go after what's his name Titus. That people wouldn't buy Xena going after Titus because like everyone hates Joxer, so therefore Xena doesn't care about Joxer, and therefore you had to like really kill him basically in order for the whole episode to make sense.
How much antipathy they thought there was in the fandom. That was a huge beating he got.
It really was. Anyway, it was realistic and cool.
I was confused by like his rags that he's wearing. Is that like his undershirt?
Yeah.
It was so just like looked like something I made in elementary school and pretend it was a rug for my dolls.
It's like the H&M version of Hercules' pants.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, I see it.
And I like all the scenes with Gabrielle.
Tending to him.
Yeah. Well, I do like a herd comfort, as has been established.
Yes.
But, like, I mean, I don't like this, like, as a relationship, but I like him as part of their family, that she acknowledges that in a real way.
Yeah.
And I do
nice
like
to
that.
see Xena too, like being like, this is personal now. You hurt someone who matters to me. Previously, we've seen Xena sort of at least pretending as if she doesn't care what the hell happens to Joxer. So she killed him once and been there, done that. So, but now it does mean something to her, motivating her to do lots of cons.
Right.
Oh my god.
Anyway.
There was a good moment in this temple where Joxer's lying, where Xena, Rafe, and Gabs come back from a con, and they pull back the blanket on his cot, and it's supposed to just be pillows, because that he's been abducted by Titus and whatever plot. But there's a great outtake that I bet a lot of you guys have already seen, but if you haven't, you've got to look it up on the YouTubes. There's a member of the crew lying under that blanket unexpectedly, and Lucy just loses her shit and then starts cackling, and it's the cutest.
It's really great. It's really weird when you first watch like bloopers without seeing episodes, and then when you get to that moment
and you're like, oh yeah,
you're like, oh, that's the one where they scare her.
I know, it was almost at the point watching it this time, I'd seen that blooper so many times that seeing it, I was like, oh, this scene, okay, this episode isn't so bad. It gave us this amazing outtake.
The way that Xena first meets Rafe is also very interesting, where she busts into this like tavern where Rafe and Eldon are hanging out, counting their winnings, and she spots Joxer's sword. So she comes in aggressively, and she's like, where'd you get that sword? And he's like, my dad, or something like that. Some kind of gross dick joke.
And that's what makes Xena go, okay, gonna have a flirtation with this man.
Thanks, Chris. She proceeds to do this, like, the knife on the hand trick. Stabby between the fingers. Very clearly reference to Aliens, where Bishop does it to Bill Paxton.
It's true, they like speeded up the footage so that Xena's hand
She's like a robot.
Inhumanly quick.
Yep, exactly.
One of her many skills. Okay, so the final scene, the whole issue with the bet is resolved. Eldon pays Rafe the 60 dinars. He's upped it over the course of the episode because Rafe got his kiss from Xena.
Well, there's like that whole thing where Eldon seemingly, tells Gabrielle that there's a bet, and then Gabrielle's like, oh, there's a bet, Xena, like, these guys are bad, and she's like, I think I know that there's a bet, don't you think he would have told you that so that, like, I would know, and then he would make Rafe lose this bet, blah, blah, blah. So it's like a whole thing of like,
one cur.
Is there really a bet, or does he love her, guys?
Oh, I'll be lying awake tonight pondering.
So yeah, they do this crazy ass scheme where like he's presumably killed by Eldon in front of Titus, and there's like a blood and blah blah blah. And as he's dying, Xena does kiss him. Well, he kisses her.
Yeah,
right?
He kisses her. She's clearly very upset by his dying. And he kisses her. And she makes a little noise, which I was like, oh my god, come on, Xena.
Save your noises for something that matters, Xena. Ugh.
So yeah, so hence Rafe feels he has not won the bet because he kissed Xena. Xena did not kiss him, which is what the bet was about.
What about the massage moment where she was going to eat his face off?
Well, the lips didn't connect. So.
They were so close.
So close. I mean, he won the bet. He knows he won, but he's just being a douchebag. It's like, I'm so good. I refuse to admit that I, like, did this to, like, win some money off my friend. Because I'm just so romantic like that. Love me. So anyway, he is such a nice guy. He leaves the money on the altar. And the final shot of the episode is Xena finding the money on the altar and being like, smiling to herself. And you're like, okay.
First of all, literally, Autolycus did this. He, like in his first episode, like left the money.
Exactly this.
Yeah.
Where he accepted money for a job, but then didn't take it. So yeah, here this guy accepts money for kissing Xena, but then doesn't take it, which is supposed to show us that his love is real, you guys.
I wish this had Autolycus in it.
Yeah. It would have been a lot better.
My notes end with heterosexual moment. Oh, next slide.
But there is no next slide.
Please save us from this.
So yeah, not the greatest episode of Xena.
Yeah.
But also not the worst. Ulysses is the worst.
Ulysses is the worst. There was like way too much of Xena participating.
When it's way too... I know we have our little like heterosexual agenda thing, but like that one, Ulysses was really like, come marry me and be. This is
like,
just
I will.
Just like kiss me.
I'm fine. Like
kiss
it's
me,
fine.
baby.
Like and you know, Xena can 100% be her awesome bisexual self and flirt with everyone, and it's like not. You know, so like Ulysses is way more egregious to me because it's just like, let's run off and
I honestly think if Rafe had just been a little sexier and a little naughtier, I would have been okay with a kiss happening. Yeah, as it was, he was just a little too bland. I was like, you can do better.
I think my favorite part of this episode is just casino stuff. I really liked the visualization of an oldie Greek casino
It was
situation.
real silly. It was like exactly like a modern casino.
Yeah.
with
Did
some
we mention
Greek
the
letters.
disco ball chandelier?
The disco ball was fabulous. Yes.
Yeah, and their card, like the way that they did the cards, they played poker, but it was like warlords,
boats
over heroes.
Yeah, I like that warlords over heroes. Yeah,
it was really cool. I mean, this is
it
not...
had some nice touches, but...
Not nice touches, but really not the greatest. Not the worst.
Yeah, it's a bit of a
the
throwaway. You know, compared to something like Ulysses, which thought it was hot stuff with these high production values and, you know, trying to be very serious. This episode knows it's not serious. It knows it's not a big deal.
Right.
It's there to entertain you for 40 minutes. And it's debatable whether it actually does its job, but it's fine.
I guess that wraps it up. Yeah, stuff.
Okay.
Do the stuff.
What's happening?
Yeah, what's going on?
We're doing Patreon stuff. You can find us over there, www.patreon.com/Xena Warrior Podcast. We're working on some of our first goals, so those should be upcoming. And you go to www.xenawarriorpodcast.com. You can find all the episodes, and you can subscribe on Apple Podcasts. If you are so inclined, it would be awesome if you took a second, left a review or rated. It helps people find the podcast, and also we love it, especially when they're good. And we're on all the social medias, Twitter, Tumblr, Facebook. Links are over there.
The power.
The passion.
The podcast.